Let's move this upstairs. Let me take these two hands, run them through your hair. All these things I wanna do are running through my head. Leave your dress in the hall, rip the sheets off the bed. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills on Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen the Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. No, they ain't, baby. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, none of those things are pretty as you know. Baby, let your hair down and let's stay on the couch. Put your head on my chest and don't make a sound. We can turn off the phone, forget about the world, 'cause there ain't one damn thing in it that compares to you, girl. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen the Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, I can't stand it. Let's move this upstairs. Let me take these two hands, run them through your hair. All these things I wanna do are running through my head. Leave your dress in the hall, rip the sheets off the bed. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills on Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen the Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. No, they ain't, baby. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, none of those things are pretty as you know. let your hair down and let's stay on the couch. Put your head on my chest and don't make a sound. We can turn off the phone, forget about the world. 'Cause there ain't one damn thing in it that compares to you, girl. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen in Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, I can't stand it. Let's move this upstairs. Let me take these two hands and run them through your hair. All these things I wanna do are running through my head. Leave your dress in the hall, if the sheets off the bed. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen in Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. No, they ain't, baby. I've seen a California sunset, I've seen the hills in Tennessee, I've seen the beaches down in Florida, I've seen Georgia evergreens, I've seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I've seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, none of those things are pretty as you. No. Baby, let your hair down and let's stay on the couch. Put your head on my chest and don't make a sound. We can turn off the phone, forget about the world. 'Cause there ain't one damn thing in it that compares to you, girl. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen in Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, I can't stand it. Let's move this upstairs. Let me take these two hands and run them through your hair. All these things I wanna do are running through my head. Leave your dress in the hall, if the sheets off the bed. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida, I seen in Georgia evergreens, I seen a blue sky in Kentucky, I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. No, they ain't, baby. I seen a California sunset, I seen the hills in Tennessee, I seen the beaches down in Florida. I seen Georgia Everglades. I seen a blue sky in Kentucky. I seen Colorado Springs. But none of those things are pretty as you. Girl, none of those things are pretty as you know.
We are live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FretJob. The FretJob is a live video podcast where we dig into the bones of the guitar world and touch on pretty much anything music related. The FretJob is brought to you live from Frizzell Guitars at 228 Jane Trail, Danville, Kentucky. Kentucky's premier guitar store and full-service luthier shop. My name's Jonathan McCorder, and I'm going to hand it over to my co-host, the owner of Frizzell Guitar and professional luthier, Brandon Edwards.
What is up, everybody? This is Brandon here at Frizzell Guitars. We are coming back at you with another great episode of the FretJob here. My name is Brandon Edwards. I'm the owner and luthier here at Frizzell Guitars. We are coming at you with a great episode today. We have a very special guest, and let me introduce this man here that has been a staple of my life for the last little bit, Jonathan McCorder. He is a great real estate agent, great friend, musician, and connoisseur of all things acoustics. So,
glad to be here, man.
Without further ado, let's continue on to this episode.
Let's get it rolling.
All right, so we got a special guest today. He's somebody that is very true in my heart and whatnot, somebody that I look up to and I like very well, and that means a lot to me and stuff. So that's one thing for me, is somebody that looks up to me or that I look up to, and that's pretty good. So you have anything to say about our special guest?
I just met Dave just a few minutes ago and seems like an awesome guy. I'm ready to get this thing rolling, man, so we can
so with that,
get him on here and talk to him and see what's going on in his little world.
Yeah, for sure. So
what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here.
All right, guys, this is Dave Strumfeld.
What's up?
Brandon, you want to tell us a little bit of how you met Dave? And
So I'll tell the story here. So I was sitting at the lunch table one day in Nashville, and one of the guys that I work with was like, "Hey, you need to do something here." And I'm like, "Yeah, have you ever recorded or wrote any songs?" And I said, "No, I attempted it once in the past, but I just never really got into it, tried." He said, "Have you ever?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you don't know how long you're going to live in Nashville. You could say a couple years and you could move somewhere else. No telling what." He said, "While you're in Nashville, you need to at least record and write one song here in Nashville, Tennessee." And I said, "Okay." He said, "You'll regret it for the rest of your life." He said, "Even if you do it not to be famous," he said, "just do it. He said, "The rest of your life," he said, "just make sure that you do this one opportunity just to show your kids." He said, just to do it for the fun of it, just so you have it to look back on. So
yeah,
I said,
it's an
okay.
experience.
So I said, okay. I didn't know where to start. He told me to just look up and figure out online, Google, and you'll find out the best way to find something out is that a way. So I went to Google, and I typed in songwriting help music producers. And the first thing I was scrolling through, like the third thing down, was Dave Strumfeld, and on Google, and all the way in Tennessee. And I clicked on him, and I hit him up.
That is a good thing.
I hit him up, and I was like, okay. And then it was pretty special. The first day I met with him, I'm picky on who I like. And the first day, he had a great demeanor about himself, and he had a great attitude. And that's what I really liked about him. Is his attitude, his willingness to work hard, and his passion. Is three things that I noticed right away, is that he cares about people, and he cares about the stuff he puts out. And that was the first thing that I could notice about him, is he had a great character.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Dave.
Thanks, man. Actually, I just want to comment on that. I really appreciate that, Brandon. That's a wonderful intro. I never actually knew that, how you found me, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I want to say that it was really cool working on your songs, and we ended up doing 2 songs. So not only did he do the 1 song before we left Nashville, but we did 2. And for someone who had never written a song before, Brandon basically sent me like just, I think, him singing into his phone, like his basic idea. It was just like, I think one song had a couple chords to it. The other song, it was just him singing a melody into his phone. And I was like, I hear what this guy wants. I hear what he's trying to get to. And I just like helped him craft it into a song. And it was really, really cool. It was fun.
For sure. I mean, I just sat there, and he really helped me a lot in my experience to make me better. It's because I want to write a few more just for the fun of it. My career is being a luthier, building guitars. My career is not being a performer necessarily, even though I am starting a band here soon. My career is kind of just playing for the fun of it. And my seriousness is my guitar building, repairs, luthier stuff, and playing and stuff like that just on the side for me. I don't want to make it take off and to be, that's not me. I want to be the luthier side.
But it's fun recording, man. I mean, it's the first time I ever even recorded myself. I got hooked, man, just sitting around messing with that stuff, just on different apps and stuff, just recording on a phone. I mean, you can really develop your talent musically a lot by working on that. I'm working that way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I work as I kind of do it all in music. So I except for luthier, I don't know how to fix a guitar at all other than that. I'm a writer. I perform gigs. I teach music lessons, and I produce music in this studio, my own music, and I help other people craft their music. Everything. I call myself a song engineer. So I do everything from, helping people take a raw song idea and then turn it into a full song if it's just them on the guitar or the piano or whatever. And then we'll take it all the way till it's, ready for streaming. So we'll arrange it, do a full band arrangement, and we'll record it, we'll mix it and master it and do the whole thing to get it from, just like a little idea, like Brandon recording his, like a couple of lines of a song onto his phone until and now that song is on Spotify and Amazon Music and everywhere.
Yeah.
So that way the way you're doing it, do they not come to your place at all? Is this usually always done?
If they're local, they will probably, but if they're not local, they do it remotely.
Yeah. I mostly work remotely. So
that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially during the pandemic, it's been like completely remotely. I really haven't worked in person with people on this kind of stuff in a while, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, people will send me their ideas over the internet, and I mean, it's kind of amazing, the technology that gives us that opportunity to do that.
It's crazy, man.
But yeah, I'm working with an artist in California right now. I'm working with an artist in Louisville. I'm working with a band from the Philippines that I'm really excited about. They're fantastic. It's like this young group, and they're so good. Their songs are so sweet and pretty. And it's awesome that we're able to send ideas, across the world.
Yeah. So
before the pandemic, I would have never done what we're doing right here. I would have never done it, man. I mean, there was a group of people out there that were there was already a lot of people doing this kind of stuff, but it wasn't until that happened that people that were kind of not into that started seeing a lot of it and, sitting at home trying to entertain themselves, and that's what got me thinking about this
For
stuff.
sure. So
Yeah.
after the first song I did with Dave, so the first song I did, he taught me a lot. The second time I was way more prepared because he taught me that preparedness. The second
Yeah.
time and he played a electric guitar solo on the second time, man, and I felt that stank in there. And every time people go back and hear it, man, I felt like when he played that solo, he made love to that solo.
Yeah, maybe I did.
Yeah, but I mean, I told him what I wanted, and I was, like, okay, let's see what he got, and he pulled out that dirty, stinky solo like I wanted. And the second
man.
time, I found this drummer, and this drummer's like, hey, what we needed, and this guy said, oh, hey, I live really close to you. The guy that drummed on it after we recorded it, he hit me back up. He lived like 2 miles down the road from me, which was
that's
pretty
cool.
incredible. And I was like, okay. So he's like, I want to meet you since I was in your song. He's like, I just gotta. So we met up at the Food Line or wherever, and we talked, and he was super incredibly cool and stuff. Then I later found out this guy tours with a lot of famous bands, and he's played on some
Cool.
pretty incredible stages. And the fact that he recorded in one of my songs is pretty incredible. Then I found a pedal steel player. He was pretty incredible. And I found a lot of pedal steel players, but nobody wanted to do the job. And I found this guy, and he's like, hey, I want to be your pedal steel player. I want to do your job for you. And I'm like,
that's
I want
cool.
to play. And he come in and knocked it out of the park. They all knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And I was, my first experience was pretty incredible.
Both those guys, the drummer and the steel player, they really did a great job. I program drums. So drums is like the one instrument I don't play, but I program the drums, and I use a really Superior Drummer 3, which is like an incredible software. And most people would never know that they're not real drums, but they're sampled from real drums.
Yeah, I have a friend that uses that. It's awesome.
It's ridiculous how good it sounds, and I use it a lot. And yeah, so all the demos and stuff that I sent Brandon was with that drum program, and but his drummer came in and did a really great job, and just a great sounding recording. And then same thing with the steel player, and it was so much fun to mix too, because I had great drum recordings to work with, and that
when
great
you have a
steel
drummer
sound.
that sends you 4 different snare sounds and like pick what snare drum I
Yeah.
use.
Yeah, that's
That's incredible. They pick out a snare drum, and I think he played with the vintage Ludwig set on this record, which was pretty cool, this song. And now I get to work with a lot of musicians through Luthier stuff. I get to help with their tech stuff, but I also get to work on the side of helping them promote themselves. Some guys help them with promoting and stuff, and I get to really be a resource and tool, because a lot of guys don't know where to start with certain things, but I do. Through my job as being a luthier, and meaning I get to meet a lot of backdoor people in the industry through the back door, through behind the scenes, and I become friends with a lot of these people. So therefore, their tools and resources I can use to help other people.
Yeah, I want to go to NAMM. That's what we need to do. You have to be a music store owner to get there, so
We'll go to NAMM together, Jonathan, as the FretJob. Who knows?
Awesome.
We'll have a booth there for the FretJob.
Okay,
that'd be cool.
Keeps getting better.
It does keep getting better. So
Yeah.
So tell us, what made you want to start getting into music when you were younger? What was your influences, inspiration?
Man, so that's a good one. Both of my parents are musicians. My mom's a pianist and a great singer, and my dad plays guitar. And music was in our family all the time. Classical music was a big thing in our household. All right, yeah. Musical theater too. I really grew up on musical theater. So like a lot of the music I write is very theatrical. It's not exactly musical theater, but it's theatrical and cinematic and kind of visual. And I think I grew up on musical theater, and those sounds really influenced me. And I was running around the house at like 4 years old, singing those kind of songs. And I got into guitar at like 12 years old.
Wow.
And actually that guitar right there is the same guitar I got when I was 12. And
Wow.
And I've saw that guitar in a lot of your videos too.
yeah, that's pretty much the only acoustic guitar I have, and I have a classical guitar too, but that's my folk guitar. That's my workhorse, and I love that thing. I mean, it's I'll show you this guitar because we'll talk about it. It's
Now here's a serious question for you. You don't have to play the mandolin.
Dude, I can play, but I'm not a mandolin player.
I'm starting to learn how to play a little bit. I bought a mandolin. That's really got my juices flowing.
So what kind of guitar is that?
So this is a Torado, which is really like it's kind of a no-name Japanese guitar, but it's like a vintage guitar from the 70s.
Yeah,
and
it looks nice.
It's got such a nice sound. And you know, for me, I've played this guitar since I was 12, 13 years old, so it's got so many years of, you know, literal, you know, sweat and, you know, like my body heat into it. So this guitar has kind of like molded to my form, and you know, there's so much of me in this guitar. And yeah, man, I love this instrument. Actually, it's funny, the most recent work I've had done on this guitar was a fret job. I had it refretted probably a couple years ago, because it was in desperate shape.
Brought it right back, huh?
Oh yeah, man, it's beautiful.
Cool.
What strings do you use on your guitar, if you don't mind asking?
I use Martin SPs, and I used to use the D'Addario, and I liked the sound of those, the phosphor bronze. But I would literally break a string every single night. I was playing shows pretty much every night or every other night.
Wow.
And I would break a string every single night, and it was so frustrating. And you know, it was driving me crazy. It was driving me absolutely crazy. And then I switched to the Martin SPs, also the phosphor bronze. I use medium, and you probably know more about the strings than I do.
They have like a recommendation. This is something I really like. So for when I started out when I was younger, I used Martin strings a lot, and then for the same price you pay for those, I can get, they're made in Mexico. I can get USA made Ernie Ball Earthwoods that are just that are better. That's what I've used. So people are like, "Oh, you started carrying Ernie Ball, that's why you like it." No, here's the deal. I never had an interest to it till I started carrying it, and I started trying it on my stuff because I wanted to be able to tell people how I thought about it. And I tried it and I liked it. It has nothing to do with because I carry it. I carry other acoustic strings as well and other string brands. But I'm just really like my Earthwoods because they've really had a great sound to me, and I put them on a lot of guitars, and they constantly have a great sound. That's my thought and theory behind it.
I'll check
we debate strings a lot, Brandon and I do.
I've used the Martins for, I've used the SPs now probably for like 5 or 6 years, and like once I switched to them, I stopped breaking strings. I just wasn't breaking strings every night. And
problem fixed.
I've kind of a heavy hand, you know. I definitely strum pretty hard, especially if I'm playing on a stage. You know, I just get into it and I'll strum it. Like,
now on my Gibson Hummingbird, I use a what's that called? I use Paradigms. They're earthwood fills. They're supposed to be earthwood looking fill, but they're coated. Slash uses, so I looked up the video. Slash puts them in his J45. A lot of famous artists use those on their acoustic guitar. So I put a set. I said, because I was an Elixir fanboy. I thought Elixir was the best string in the world. I could never ever use it. I told myself I'll never use another string but Elixir. So I went through. I put these Paradigms on, and it sounded so incredibly great. And starting off the gate, well, it sounded that great, like fresh, brand new set of strings 2 months after heavy playing on that guitar. So that was what sold me.
I use coated strings, but I don't. If I played out every night, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably do what you do because you probably change strings all the time, don't you?
Yeah. So here's another question. People always ask when we interview people, give us a rig rundown of what you do when you play live. Give us your rig rundown.
For me, if I'm playing solo, it's as basic as it gets. So I just use it. Actually, you know what I like to do if I'm in the right kind of venue, I just like to put a condenser mic in front of me. If it's a quiet venue, and you know, I don't have to worry about feedback or too much noise. I just love sticking a condenser mic in front of me and not plugging in my guitar or at all. And it's just the sound of me. And then, you know, I have a lot of control over my own kind of dynamics, because I can get right up close to the microphone. I can sing some lower notes. I can get some proximity effect. I can back off and have it more of an ambient sound, but it just picks up the sound of what I sound like in a room,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
electronics.
Like,
But if I am plugging in, I use a LR Baggs Venue as my DI for my acoustic. That's a killer DI. It's so nice. It's got the notch, so I can notch out any nasty resonances. It's got like 2 different bands of EQ. It's got a presence knob. It's also got a mute, which is so great. So I can just like click that mute button and put my guitar down. I don't have to worry about the guitar, feeding back into the venue. It's also got a boost. So if I'm ever like doing finger picking stuff, or I'm gonna like playing with other people and gonna hit an acoustic solo, I hit that boost. I love that Baggs, LR Baggs.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
I've
sure.
read a lot of good stuff about
I
that.
like K&K as well. Now,
Yeah,
I've
man.
got,
So those are the K&K pickups in my acoustic guitar, and
So,
I love them. I swear by it.
I've got an LR Baggs in my acoustic. That's what came factory from Gibson.
Oh yeah.
But I also love K&K. Not a huge Fishman guy, just because. Only reason I say that, people are like, oh, no Fishman guy. I've had a lot of problems with people. People's had a lot of problems. Specifically, I can see him over there because he may be a Fishman guy.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I just
Whatever.
when I bought my first guitar, it had a Fishman in it, but I'm not a Fishman
And this
guy.
is the
No.
reason I say this, and this is coming from me. Is I've had a lot of problem. People bringing guitars with a lot of problems out of the Fishmans more than have anything else. So that's my standpoint on it.
Yeah.
I've had to fix issues and stuff more on that than I have anything else.
I think they've went downhill over the years. Fishman has.
Richard
I really think
Poole
they
says
have.
Elixir Custom Light Phosphor Bronze for the win.
I agree with Richard Poole. That's my father-in-law. I agree with him.
I'm getting tuned up on over here. Thanks a lot.
I
use
needed some
elixirs
help.
on my electric guitar, but
Yeah.
not on my acoustic.
What
But
kind
yeah,
of
my
electric
acoustic,
guitar do you
I
have,
have
by the way?
the K&K pickup on this acoustic, and it sounds so good. The K&K pickups through the LR Baggs DI. I'll show you my electric.
This is the one you recorded on Sway with, right?
Yeah, this is what I record everything with. So this is my '96 Lone Star.
Wow.
Oh,
Cool. That's beautiful,
It's
man.
a really nice guitar. I love this guitar. I've also had this since I was really young. This wasn't my first electric guitar. I had a Squire for a couple of years while I was learning, and then
I'm drawing like really hard right now.
yeah, man, this is a beautiful guitar. Yeah, man, I've played this guitar also a long time, since I was like 15 or 16. And it's got my Spurzl locking tuners. It's got
Great.
Seymour Duncan's. Actually, this is kind of funny. I've got 2 black pickups and a white pickup, but I use a Sharpie to color this pickup in black. It's kind of wearing down right now.
Wow, cool guitar. And
Yeah.
Matthew Prado says, "Hey, Dave."
What's up, man? That's one of my guitar students. He's a good guy. Really
Cool.
good. Really good kid.
So-
But yeah, man, this is a killer electric guitar. I love this guitar too.
Yeah,
I
man.
made one
That's
of my
nice.
guitar students last night at karaoke. She was there with her mother. Her mother's a student, and so was her and her sister. Well, she was there, but not her sister, with her mother and her stepdad. I made her get up and sing a duet with me last night at karaoke. I said, "This is my guitar student. She's been taking lessons with me for close to a year, a little bit less than a year." And I said, so we're gonna sing a duet together. She told me if she comes in for a lesson on Wednesday and she struggles me with the guitar chord, don't be sorry. That I made her get up and sing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we sung a Picture by Sheryl Crow
Oh,
because
okay.
that's the only one I know. And
I wish I could have been there last night and captured that for this morning.
Yes, it was great. So, and Jonathan over there taught me in the chat.
Yeah, I'm an Elixir guy, so I had to taunt you a little bit.
I know.
But hey, I'm trying something new. You know, you've got one of my guitars over there. He's got my Martin, my first acoustic. He's got it over there. He's getting ready to do a FretJob on it. And man, yeah, I gave him a set of Diodario XS to set it up with because I am trying something new. They're a coated string. They use the same coatings as Elixir though,
And
so it's kind of like
that is a Fender. That is not a Squire.
yeah.
But he
Yeah,
did have a
definitely.
Squire previously, but that's a Fender he has there. Matthew
that's my
thought that
love
was a
guitar.
Squire guitar.
Yeah, that's a sweet piece, man.
That is
That was
very
my big-
sweet, and
What you
so
play it through?
Richard Poole says, "Wow, really cool guitar. What kind of amp you got?"
Thank you. I use a Fender Deluxe 90.
Okay.
I'm drawing so
Just a
hard right
standard
now.
kind of solid state amp. But I also have a Music Man tube amp from like the 80s or 90s. But man, it needs repair. So Brandon, do you do amps too?
Yes, we do. We have Justin.
I'll have to bring it to you once
Yep.
I'm down in Nashville.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm moving to Nashville in June, which I'm excited about.
yeah. So
Yeah, tell us what you're going to do down there.
I'm just gonna do everything, just like produce
What you're
music.
doing now, just down there in a better place for it.
Yeah, just be in Music City, performing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and put a band together. Actually, I'm definitely gonna put a band together, and
Cool.
just get out there and play some venues, get involved in every way I can, and then produce a lot of music.
Yeah.
here's a
record.
question for you.
Yeah.
Somebody that's just starting out in the industry, what is your advice to them? They are just starting out, going to college or whatnot, and they're doing. What is your best advice?
Just starting out, what, like on guitar, or trying
No,
to get it to?
on producing and whatnot, and trying to and audio engineering and all that, songwriting, all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. The first thing is to listen to what sounds good. Like, pick a record that sounds good. If you're doing mixing and stuff like that, or producing, a couple of things to do is one, pick a record that sounds good and just try and emulate that sound, and that comes down. You don't even have to be in a studio. You can just be sitting with a pair of headphones or with a good pair of speakers, and break down what's actually going on in the song and listen to it and say, all right, there's drums in the song, there's bass in the song, there's acoustic guitar, there's an electric guitar, there's some kind of synth pad going on, there's the lead vocal, but then in the chorus there's also a doubled vocal, there's two harmonies going on, oh, there's a string part that comes in the bridge, and like, you start to pick apart what is actually putting the song together, like what are all the puzzle pieces that make a song, and then you can kind of apply those sounds to your own songs and get something that sounds similar. And listening to stuff like that, you can do it in terms of arrangement, you can do it in terms of mix, you can do it even in terms of songwriting, getting some ideas from listening to great music.
So here's a question for you. So
Yeah.
Jonathan, he does a lot of Shania Twain covers.
Yeah, right.
What would you recommend if he was trying to emulate that Shania Twain sound?
He's lying to you, man.
I mean, listen to Shania Twain. Those are great sounding records.
Paybacks.
The music sounds good.
Payback.
But yeah, I mean, you can listen, referencing is big, just learning what an arrangement sounds like, learning from the masters what great songwriting is, just from the basic level, like how
Yeah,
do the
for sure.
masters
Maybe
write
we
their
could all
song?
convince Jonathan to put hashtag Let's Go Girls in the comment section. So maybe in a couple episodes he'll do a cover of Let's Go Girls by Shania Twain.
Brandon keeps messing with me harder and harder as we progress, man.
That was
he
only
won't-
because you took that stab at the string, so therefore that's
Yeah.
payback.
Yeah, I have to stand my ground on my strings, man. That's one thing acoustic guitar players are really crazy about, man.
We
You
love
can't hardly
picking
get
on
them to
each other.
change.
We love picking on each other. It's fun, no harm with each other. But
Yeah.
so you said you had something special for us. What was that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. When you asked me to do this last week, I got inspired, and I wrote you guys a little jingle.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah.
So this is just, I don't know, you could use this in your intro or whatever, or not, but it's a little jingle. This is called the FretJob. Ready? FretJob, gotta get it in for a FretJob. Turn it up on the volume knob. It's time to tune in to FretJob.
That is awesome,
if you could
man.
send us a recording of that, I'll use
I
it.
will.
You send
Yeah,
me a
man.
MP3 file or whatever, a recording
I'll
of
do that.
I'll use that.
Yeah.
That is
That
pretty
is
incredible.
cool, man.
I always wanted to use the word knob in a song, and I finally did.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
So, speaking of songwriting, my buddy Brad Hardin, he writes some incredible songs. So,
Yeah.
forever, he had the word ghost in his head. He wanted to write a song with ghost, and for about a year. So one night his friend called him, and he was telling about his really screwed up relationship. So we turned that into a song with the word ghost, and it was pretty incredible. And
Isn't it weird how people's mind, like a songwriter's
he
mind,
wrote
works,
that song
man?
Ghost, which is already another sounding hit in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, his songwriting's impeccable.
A lot of good songs are written right then, man.
He taught himself how to songwrite. He was just a natural born songwriter. Some people are born with the ability just to write a song and put the chord and stuff together. And that's one of the gifts that God give him, is to be able to write, play, sing, and perform.
So have you wrote a lot of jingles? I mean, is that?
I mean, not really. Maybe one or two.
That's a cool little niche thing, man, that people do.
Yeah.
Would you?
I can write anything, you know.
Would you want to play? Not to put you on the spot. Would you want to play one of your songs for us, real quick?
Oh man. Sure. Why not? Let's do that.
Just one. You don't have to do just a little bit of this one of the songs. That's you.
Yeah. Let me think of what. I'm actually working on a new album. It's almost done. I'm in like the mastering phase.
Cool.
And so I'm real close to doing it. I guess I'll do one of the songs from the new album.
Okay. And Richard Pulse is very cool jingle and very good info, Dave.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And Matthew,
this is a fun song. This one is called "This World Isn't Big Enough for the Two of Us." And when I first wrote this song, I was like, this is about my ex, right? But
Okay.
as I was working on it, I realized it was actually about my opponent. It was about myself, and like the dark side of me that holds me back. And
Cool.
so this world isn't big enough for the two of us. Giving this the best that I've got, taking every bit of me all the while. If this is a test, then I give up. Got into a mess that I can't clean up. And this world isn't big enough for the two of us. No, this world isn't big enough for the two of us. Well, I've taken many wrong turns before. Still I find myself going back for more. If this was a dream, I'd wake to find I'm living in a nightmare all the time. And this world isn't big enough for the two of us. No, this world isn't big enough for the two of us. This world isn't big enough for the two of us. No, 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 this world isn't big enough for the two of us. No, 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 this world isn't big enough for the two of us. No, 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 this world isn't big enough the two of us.
Heck yeah, man.
Whoa, that was
Great song, man.
That was
Thank
a
you.
great
Thank
song.
So that's going to be on your next album that you're getting ready to do?
Yeah, I got
Getting ready to release.
the album's called In Atlantis, and it's got 12 songs, and it's really just like, it's been a very cathartic experience for me, kind of a healing journey over the last few years. And yeah, that's one of them. I think that might be my first single from the album.
That's cool, man. And is it mostly an acoustic album?
No, actually, it's like a fully produced record, so it's got the whole thing: drums, electric guitars, guitar
Everything.
solos,
Yeah.
Cool.
harmonies, synths. It sounds really good. It's really
awesome,
colorful.
Matthew
And then there's a
Prados,
handful of just like acoustic songs,
Matthew Prados is fantastic song teach. Richard Pulse is great song, Dave.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I mean, yeah.
Appreciate it.
So another so you so what who influences you musically? Like you told us once before, a little bit earlier, but who are some of the artists you grew up listening to?
Yeah, I mean, so I like a lot of classic stuff. So, I'm a huge Beatles fan. I love the Beach Boys. I love the Kinks, David Byrne. I love Radiohead, Wilco.
Yes.
Sufjan Stevens, Belle and Sebastian, that kind of stuff. I love, I just love vocal harmonies. I love really interesting and unique chord progressions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonathan? What's kind of been yours, like growing up? Since we're sharing.
Mostly it's been people around me. I mean, and not really so much famous people. I mean, I've got some really good friends that are really talented and were really talented at a really young age. And my friend Robbie, my father-in-law Richard, that's watching this, guys like that are kind of what influenced me. And I listen to a lot of, James Taylor type stuff. I like Cat Stevens. I mean, that's the type of stuff I like. John Prine, those are the people I listen to. Yeah, me too, man. And there's a lot of new guys that I really like too that are in that same kind of lane.
So growing up for me, my father was the kind of guy, he would blare AC/DC, Def Leppard. He was that dad rock guy, He would listen to Trace Atkins, Randy Travis. So I grew up with that influence of like Randy Travis, Def Leppard, AC/DC, some of that rock stuff, that Trace Atkins.
Travis Tritt.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. My dad grew up really listening to that. And so that's kind of my influence. And so I think what really got me started on the guitar more than anything, wanted a guitar, I think it was one year for Christmas, my aunt, she got me a Rascal Flatts CD. And I never listened to much music or understood music. I didn't know what it was. Until I understand it. She got me that CD, and I remember it was one day, me and my sister were home by herself, I think, and she was watching me, and I went up to we had a little game room, and I went up there. My dad had a radio with CD player. I plugged it in and started playing and listening to it, and just the songs, just the meaning. Gary LaVox's voice was just incredible. How his voice was and all that stuff was incredible to watch and hear and to see, and then. I just love Joe Don Rooney. His guitar playing abilities was incredible, and I'll never forget. It was probably a week or couple weeks afterwards. It was called GMA Country, or GAC Country, and I was sitting there, and I remember that Rascal Flatts came on, and they did an acoustic slash band performance. And they did one song acoustically, and I was like, oh man, his voice is incredible, and that acoustic guitar playing. I think they did the song acoustically, What Hurts the Most, and that song just really kind of stuck with me throughout my life as a song that I could remember. And then after that, they did another song, and he did a guitar solo on a Les Paul, and the camera got right up on there, and he was soloing it, and it was just a feelfulness. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to play like that. I want to do that. And after that, that kind of just took me away, and I started listening to stuff like that. I started listening to like blues, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I just really started finding out who I liked as a musician.
Yes, you said Stevie Ray Vaughan. The first time I was at my wife's parents' house, and they had this old VHS, and it was Austin City Limits, Stevie Ray Vaughan. It had two performances. It had one that was earlier on in his career when he was pretty wild, and then it had one a whole different performance that was after he kind of cleaned his act up a little bit. And man,
yeah, for sure,
that was the first time I'd ever saw him play guitar or even really knew who I was listening to. With Stevie Ray Vaughan, and man, I was just like blown away by that.
Says Aztec two-step, Dave.
Oh yeah, that's my mom. Hi, Mama.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you're a biggest supporter in the chat.
Yeah, 100%.
And then
that's awesome,
Richard Poole says yes. John's storytelling music is my favorite. Prine, Taylor, Chaplin, Lightfoot, etc.
Yeah.
So it's that love, And I think for me, I don't listen to them as much now as I used to, but it's like listening to Rascal Flatts. Their songs, like, you could always find a song that they recorded, and it could relate to a part of your life. And that was me, I went through one of the hardest points of my life with a woman, And I remember What Hurts the Most came on the radio, and that song just really grabs you in, and it's like, oh man, you can relate to it. Something like that. Gary LaVox was a great storyteller with his voice, and he could really tell, you could go from Life is a Highway all the way to, What Hurts the Most, or Here Comes Goodbye, those kind of songs. He really had a way with his music, and there's a lot of people. Another one.
How many songs have you written, Dave?
Yeah,
I don't even know. I honestly, it's
Thousands,
maybe 1,000. I don't know.
maybe 1,000.
I don't know. Like many.
You
many
probably
songs.
started writing young, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I was writing songs before I even like played the guitar. But once I picked up the guitar at like 12 or 13, it was like so many songs. You
All
know.
right, Dave,
Yeah,
we're
people
gonna-
don't realize that the writing, how important the writing is in developing yourself as an artist, because that, I didn't realize that until I started paying more attention to the music business. And man, that's where you got to start out at, is writing, getting together with other writers and writing with other people and
So
stuff.
this is
And that's honestly how I learned guitar too. I got better because I heard ideas in my head that I wanted to do, and I was like, how do I make this sound on the guitar? And so I would learn new chords, to be able to like fit what I was hearing in my head. And the other way around too, I would learn a new chord and be like, whoa, this is inspiring a new song, and like so kind of feed in, hand in hand.
So here's a question I ask everybody, every guest that comes on the show. This is a question I get asked lots of times. I've asked Jonathan, do you know your mother's favorite song on guitar?
Yeah.
You don't have to play it, but do you know?
I don't. Yeah, I do actually, but not offhand. I wrote it down because it's a song that I wasn't familiar with. It was Leon Russell, A Song for You. Isn't that right, Mom? You told me that one time, and I never got
So
that.
everybody always asks me in a staple moment, you play guitar, do you know your mother's favorite song? You're always supposed to know. I was told by another guitar player, you're always supposed to know your mom's favorite song.
Yeah, I don't think I know how to play it, but I'll learn it. I mean, I've been playing it and
That
learning
was
it.
just something an older music guy told me. He said, the one thing you're always supposed to know your mom's song. That's just something, And
That's good advice.
That's very good advice. So,
If Brandon starts a phrase with "not to put you on the spot,"
It's gonna put you
get
on the
ready.
spot.
yeah. Okay. What's we do a player tip of the week every week. Give us a player tip of the week about guitar playing. Like your player tip of the week.
About guitar playing? All right. Specifically about guitar playing, and maybe I'll mix it in with some songwriting. It's like, try to expand and be fearless with the guitar and with songwriting. There's like, it's very, very easy to get kind of stuck in a box of 4 chords and always play these 4 chords forever and write 1,000 songs. And there's 1,000 great songs you can do with those 4 chords. And then, a lot of people will strap a capo on and do those same 4 chords up here on the neck and do, write another 100 songs. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's great, great songs that can be written like that.
Those
but for me,
cowboy
there's
chords.
something about, what's that?
Those cowboy chords.
Yeah, cowboy chords.
Yeah,
and like they
sure.
work for cowboy music, man. They work for pop music. They work for any folk music. They work for any kind of
They
music.
even work for Shania Twain, Jonathan.
I know they do.
Because it's universal. Those chords are always going to sound good together, and they're always going to be pleasing to the ear, and they're always predictable, which has got a positive side and a negative side. You want something to be predictable enough that people feel comfortable in the song, but you also want to be adventurous enough that like it makes your ear kind of twitch. It makes you be like, ooh, what was that? That's a cool moment in a song. And that could be as simple as like substituting one of the chords for a minor chord. Like a 1 to 5 to 4 is a great sound that everybody knows, but the 1 to minor 5, that's a nice sound. All I did was change that 5 chord, to a D minor chord. A D,
So
yeah,
James
to a D minor.
Strumfeld says, I love cowboy chords.
Yeah, I mean, cowboy chords work. I love them.
like-
But for me, when I hear a G, D, C, I know what's gonna happen for the rest of the song. But if I hear a G with a D minor or some other chord that's a borrowed chord from another key, and that's just one example, that's like, to me, it's a little bit more inspiring, and
Here's
there's
a great example
more color
for you.
to it. Yeah.
And it can still be predictable.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's still predictable, but it's just like it makes your ear go, ooh, what was that?
Yeah.
That's something a little different,
Yeah,
a little special.
Hey,
Um, I'm a chord guy. I'm a melody guy first. A melody is like kind of what leads a song for me. But then, you know, if the melody is adventurous enough and the melody is leading the song, I often find that the melodies that I'm writing, they're not going to just fit in this box, because you can't take something, you know, you've written this cool melody that's adventurous, that's kind of going outside the lines and, you know, is doing its own thing, and then try and squeeze that in a 4-chord box. It's not going to work so well. So like, I kind of write the melody first a lot of the time, and then write the chords to that, and that's kind of how I get some interesting sounding chord progressions, because I'm writing the chords to the melody, and it's not the melody isn't restrained by what the chords are doing. It's the other way around.
Okay, that's awesome, man. So did you pick up on that pretty quick in songwriting and guitar playing, or is that something that came a lot later?
I've developed it, but I've always been turned on by unique sounds. You know, when I listen to some of the bands I listen to, and I hear some chord, and it confuses me. If I can sit there and like hear the whole and listen to it and be like, okay, I know what chord that is, I know what that is, I know what that is. Like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I love music like that. But if there's a song I'm like, what is that? And there's some mystery in the song. To me, that's what really gets me. And it's like, I love unlocking those mysteries and trying to figure out, what was this songwriter doing? What is this chord using? What is this different melody? What is this chromaticism that this songwriter is using? And so I got really intrigued in hearing that from different artists. And then so, you know, I started writing in that way.
I went to school for it.
So in a lot of your videos, or a few of your videos, I saw, you know, you had, is that there was one video on there, I think it was like 4 years ago, you were on a stage, and it was a full band on YouTube.
Well, appreciate you.
Is that the Band of Lovers?
Yeah, I used to play with a band called Band of Lovers, and we were a trio, and we had really tight harmonies. We had a really fun time. We played, you know,
Had a mandolin player, right?
It was a ukulele, yeah. And
it was a ukulele, okay.
Yeah, she was a lefty who played a right-handed ukulele upside down.
Okay.
Yeah, man, we just had a blast. Like, we played for 4 years. We lived on the road, and we played, you know, in like 40-something states around the country.
Is that better, Lisa? Sorry, it probably was my end. The sound went a little weird.
Oh, are we good?
Yeah, we should be good now.
Yeah, we're good. What about ukulele? So I saw a video that had you playing ukulele.
Oh yeah, actually that's funny, because that's a song that my sister and I did for our mom. So we do stuff for we do. Yeah, I'll show you my.
He's a ukulele nerd. So.
Yeah, I'm a ukulele guy.
Oh, you'll like this. I love this ukulele. This is a tenor. Lanakai.
That's what I started on, as a tenor.
This is a nice ukulele,
man.
Too.
Yeah,
and for me, I like the tenor. I love this inlay too.
Yeah.
I like the tenor because I just got like these big kind of chubby fingers, and my fingers can't wrap around a soprano ukulele.
I like the tenor. I've got a little vintage Martin. I've got a little Martin soprano, but it's so tiny, man. But I like the tenor, and I've got baritone ukuleles also.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah. You know what I've played is one of those ukulele basses. You ever play one of those?
I've picked one up like in a store before. And, yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, Richard said he wants to hear you play and sing on the ukulele.
Who, me?
Yeah, Richard Poole said that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, ukulele is a fun instrument. I actually have some ukulele on my new album, but there's one song where it's like, oh, that's clearly a ukulele, and then there's another song where I really manipulate the sound of the ukulele, and I filter it, and I kind of put it through some distortion and some other effects.
Yeah,
it just sounds really cool. It's got a cool sound on the album, and you wouldn't think, oh, that's a ukulele.
You know, Jonathan loves ukulele. He's grinning ear to ear.
I know. I've heard.
Yeah, man, I dig it.
Yeah, man.
I was like in Lexington one day, and I was sitting around in a parking lot waiting on. My wife was in somewhere, and I picked up I was looking on YouTube, and I found somehow this video of Jake Shimabukuro come to my phone.
He's great.
Yeah, and he was playing that While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and man, I just went crazy. And the next time I was in music store up there. I wanted to look at ukuleles, and it wasn't maybe a couple weeks later. I bought my first one, and I was hooked, man. For a long time, that's all I played. I quit playing guitar, and then I went back to playing both.
I'll tell you an underrated video or something that I seen that I really, really like, that I seen for the first time here a couple weeks ago, is MTV Unplugged with Alice in Chains, Nutshell.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that.
You know who video. Alice in Chains is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they sung Nutshell, and right after that, Lane Staley died. And that's just incredible. You got to watch it. You want cold chills down your back, watch that.
Yeah, that's a good video, man.
That's
I like a lot of the old Unplugged videos, man. Like, you know, of course, the Nirvana Unplugged.
And Stevie Ray Vaughan, he died after his MTV Unplugged not too long either.
Yeah.
But, which is pretty incredible. But
MTV's changed so much, man.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's been fun. I'm sure you've had a lot of fun today, Dave.
Yeah, man. It's been great talking to you guys. It really it's been a lot
for sure. So
maybe we'll have you back on once you get in Nashville and get set up, man, and we can see how it's going down there.
I would love to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna be.
We'll do like a little check in with you. Now, here's the last question I want to ask you: where can people, if they need your services as a producer, or they need you to work on their song, where can they get that at? Can they go to your website, message you?
Yeah, so I'm like weeks away from launching a brand new website, which is going to have everything I do, from my original music to my production to links to lessons and that kind of stuff. That'll be davestrumfeld.com.
Now, can they message your business page like Dave
Strumfeld?
But
you can find my I'm on Facebook. Dave Strumfeld Music, I think, is the full Facebook name. But if you just like Facebook Dave Strumfeld, I've got my personal page, which is also my name, Dave Strumfeld, but I've also got the music business one. And so, yeah, you can message me on there. I'm at davestrumfeldmusic@gmail.com.
If you need any kind of production work, go see the man. He is incredible. He is like, when I first heard this guy here deserves to be at like RCA or some of the big studios. That's the quality of this guy. He deserves to be somewhere. He deserves to be in some big studio down there working, because he's got more quality than I've seen some of these studio guys at some of these studios down there.
I can't wait to see what you do down there.
He's going to do great things, and I can't wait.
I don't know if I deserve it yet, but I'm going to go down and work for it for sure.
You guys seen him here, and I give it the next couple years, and everybody's going to be wanting to get songs done by him.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
That's awesome, man.
I appreciate that. That's really kind words.
Yeah, so, I think...
Thanks for coming on, Dave.
Me and Jonathan...
Yeah, man, this has been my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. You guys are great. Love your show.
Yeah, for sure. So, this is Brandon with the FretJob.
And this is Jonathan.
And,
see you, Dave.
Later, guys. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. Make sure if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and share. If you're on Facebook, also do the same. And right after this episode, we have a new video that is going to be premiering of what's on the Frizzell bench. So tune into that on YouTube.
See you guys.
Later.